Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about relationship coach. Do you need one? Do you not need one? What's the point of them? Why are they even there? Luckily for me, I have Alexandria, who is a relationship coach, and so many other hats that she wears, believe me. And you will be able to pick her mind and really think about what is this all about. So thank you so much, Alexandra, for coming on my show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Mitzi. I'm so happy to be here. I'm doing so good. I'm great. I'm great. I just had a very energizing conversation like right before this, and I'm so ready to go. I'm ready to dive into this topic with you of relationships.
I know because let's be honest, we have a lot of relationships in our lives, from the
Mm,
very beginning to as a grown adult, we go through different types of relationships. But usually when people think of relationship coaches, they think it's just partner one-on-one, A and B. Is that true? Can a relationship coach just be for an actual relationship, like romantic, or can it be for the whole family, or can it be for your friends? Where do we need this?
I love this question. Thank you for asking. Um, it's so interesting, right? As human beings, right from the get-go, when we think of relationships, we always think of relationships with other beings, right? Our relationship with our mom, our relationship with our partner, our relationship with, our brother, our sister, our friends. But we are literally, right? Our whole environment around us is relationships. We have a relationship with ourselves. We have a relationship with money, right? We have a relationship with food. We have a relationship with our job, right? We have a relationship with the earth, with water, with everything, right? That is our interactions. So, my job really is to help you create a symbiotic relationship, a balanced relationship with these different things in your life, whether it be people, whether it be objects, whether it be energies, right? That
Yeah.
is my job. Because what happens is when we are younger, our foundational relationships are what creates the beliefs that we have. And these
Yes.
beliefs get reflected to us as adults, right? So if I, have a relationship, let's say with something like money, right? I love to talk about relationships with intimate partners and stuff like that. But since you're bringing this up, I'm like, all right, let's fucking do this. Okay? So say a relationship with money, right? As a kid, one of the foundational beliefs that was created for me is that when it comes to money, I get rejected by money, right? That's what
Mm.
came up for me because when I was younger and I would ask for money, it was you're entitled or you're a bitch or you're this,
Yep.
right? So that was
Hmm.
a belief that I had to clear in order to make space for a new belief to come through. Because what was being reflected in my reality was this belief that money was going to reject me. Okay.
Hmm.
Same thing can happen. Do you trust money? Right? Do you trust money? Does money trust you? Do you allow money to see you? Because
Yeah.
money wants to see all of you. Right. And this
Yeah.
is this is in all of our relationships, right? When you think about it, in a relationship with a friend, in a relationship with a partner, you want to be valued, right? You
Yeah.
want to be valued and you want to value that person. Same thing with money. Same thing with the earth. Same thing with all of these different relationships, right? But what we have to do is we have to mm, shift these dynamics and shift these beliefs so that we can create that symbiosis where everybody is moving with ease,
Yes.
right? Everybody,
Hmm.
everyone, everything is moving with ease. Yes, there's things that come up, right? There's things that come up. But guess what? We get to choose to move through it with ease because we have shifted these beliefs. And
Yes.
it
It's
doesn't
all
have to
about.
be struggle.
Exactly. And
But
I see
in
what you're
terms,
saying. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and in terms of like our, you know, the relationship coaching industry, I love that you that you pointed this out because I resisted, let me fucking tell you, I resisted this relationship coaching label for so long. I was like, I don't want people to think I'm a dating coach. I don't want people to think I'm like a fucking Matthew Hussey, right? Like, I'm not Matthew Hussey. Like, shout out, good for you, Matthew Hussey, but I ain't you, boo, right? So, right, and this is what came up for me. I was like,
Mhm.
there are so many other relationships outside of the intimate ones that we have. I mean,
Yes.
really, all of our relationships are intimate, right? But the ones that, are those partnerships, there's so many outside of that. And I mean, the most important relationship, and I'm sure you've heard this before, you've had tons of people on your show, is the one with yourself,
Yep.
right? Because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, you're getting such a loaded answer right now. At the end of the day, right? Um, I don't know if you believe in mirroring, but whatever's happening internally is being reflected to you externally, right? It's being reflected back to you. And I'm a
Mhm.
big believer that, when we are young, we are whole. And then we move through these traumatic experiences. And what ends up happening is these parts of us break off, right? These parts of us
Mhm.
break off. And these are what create these beliefs. So this part could be, okay, I need to self abandon myself in order to be loved. That's the only way I can be loved. Another part could be, I'm not worthy of love, right? Or I'm
Yeah.
unworthy, or I'm not enough. Another part
Mhm.
could be, I need to prove myself in order to be loved, or I need to have myself all together in order to be loved, or I'm
Mhm.
afraid of being seen. Whatever these parts are, they manifest as these different beliefs about ourselves and the relationships that we have in our lives,
Yes,
right?
that's very true.
So we're all out here operating in these wounds. And my wound's hanging out with your wound,
Mhm.
right? And what ends up happening is we're hanging out in these wounds, and this is where we're operating from. Holy shit, when are we operating from center, from heart, from truth, from who we actually truly are?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's very true. I think that's the problem is when we don't acknowledge the fact that we have a relationship with literally everything, and
Everything.
people like to categorize and just put these big bubbles and not realize like, no, life is full of tiny little bubbles, tiny little umbrellas with all of these little attachments that comes with
Mm.
it, and once we see that versus a whole, then life becomes realistic. You know what I mean? Because people get
Yeah.
become paralyzed and freeze out of just the mere thought of doing something because, oh, I have to put myself in that situation. But in reality, no, you do that every day. You do hard things every single day, but you don't give yourself the credit to do that. And it's like when you were saying it all comes down to your relationship with yourself, and that's the real question. Do you even have a relationship with yourself? Can you be by yourself as an individual with your own time? And a lot of the times people will say, no, I don't like to know what's going on with me because when I find out, all of these emotions come rushing in.
This is scary.
And it's
This is scary.
scary. People don't know what to do. They're like, "Ah," and they go back to freezing and then they go back
Yeah.
to retreating and they go back to the ways that they feel familiar and comfortable. And it goes back to a toxic relationship within yourself. You are the problem because you are the main denominator.
Bing, bang, boom, right? You have the
Exactly.
power. Not even just you're the problem. Guess what, baby? You have the power. And I spoke on this recently. I was like, it's never going to be the right fucking time. Right, it's
Yeah.
never going to be the right time to do the healing. I'm sure you do this work too, and people are like, oh well, I'll do this when I'm less busy, or when life is less crazy, or when the kids grow up, or blah 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 blah. Bullshit. Right, bullshit.
Yep.
It's not about what's happening around you right now. It's that you are afraid to take accountability and responsibility for your life, for your truth, for your emotions, for those fears that are holding you back. And that
Mhm.
takes a lot of bravery and courage.
It does. So then I guess goes back to my main question. So what do you do then? You just ask people these questions like a therapist, like you're like under a therapist, like, go see a relationship coach and then she'll help you figure yourself out because obviously we're all crazy, but we all have the same answers in our hand, but yet we fail to see them. We're like walking around blind, like, no. So what do you do? Tell me.
What do I do? I mean, I kind of spoke on it already. I
I
help
know
you
you
shift
did.
your
It did.
beliefs,
You
right?
did kind of spoke on it, but it kind of got lost in everything
In
that
the
was
sauce.
being said. Because no, because it was so much good information. But
Yeah.
I guess to narrow it down for the people that in the back that are still trying to catch up,
Yes. 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 Yes.
what is it?
Absolutely. Um, what I do is I help you shift your beliefs within your relationships so that you can release these toxic patterns that you're seeing in your relationships and that are keeping you in unhealthy dynamics within your relationships. Okay? So and that happens with your relationship with yourself, with others, and with money. And I say money because money is a big thing in our life, right?
Yeah.
Um but that is essentially what I do, and I do that through breath work. I'm a breath work facilitator. I'm also a human design teacher. I don't know if maybe you'll have me
What
back
is
on
no?
for let's
Well,
talk about human design because
yeah,
that's a
I
whole
know
other
about
realm.
breath work. I tried that a few times and it has given me peace when my most anxiety was overcoming me. That was a great outlet for me. So yeah, I believe in breath work and how it does help calm you, and center
Yeah.
you. But what is that human dividing dividends? Well, what
Human
did you
design.
Oh, human
Yeah. So
design.
human
Goodness gracious,
design
Mitzi, I
is
was so
like,
off.
no, you're so close. Who even cares, right? Like human design is essentially like your energetic blueprint, right? So the thing that I can compare it to like most would be like astrology, but it's like far more complex, I would say.
Okay.
Because it's like a conglomeration, or is that the word? Is that a word? A
Sure, we're
conglomeration?
gonna label it. We'll add it, put a stamp on it. It works for us.
It's all these things, right? Put together, right? So these different modalities. So it has Vedic and Western astrology. It incorporates the I Ching. I don't know if anyone here knows of the I Ching, but it's an ancient Chinese divination text, and it was created by these monks, and it had 64 different archetypes that they saw within humanity at that time. Okay, and those had light aspects and those had shadow aspects, and they're represented by hexagrams that have yin and yang lines. Okay, and in human design, that's incorporated as gates. So again, these are like the energies that you have, and then there's a few other things. I won't get into it right now because for the sake of time, baby, right? um there's a few other things that are incorporated in that, but essentially, at its core, what it is it's your energetic blueprint, and it shows you what your energetic gifts are, as well as where you're more susceptible to conditioning from society, conditioning from others, and where you can create energetic boundaries, right? More effective energetic boundaries. Because it tells you, like, when you like, go to a coffee shop or something and somebody does something really
Hmm.
like irritating to you, and you're like, why is
Yep.
this so fucking irritating to me, and nobody else cares, right? And that's in your design, right? There's certain things that bother you, and you're like, I don't understand why this bothers me so much, right?
Yes.
And that's why it's really, really helpful, right? Really helpful in
Mhm.
terms of your relationships, because it also helps you see kind of how your energy is
Mhm.
interacting within your
Yeah.
relationships with people. Okay. And then I also do unconscious mind reprogramming.
So like
So
hypnosis?
it's similar to hypnosis, but like how I said before, we have these parts, right? And these parts, essentially, why they're there is they're there to protect you. They think that they're protecting you, right? So this part that abandons itself to be loved, it's like, well, I'm protecting you because this is what we needed to do in order to get love, or we need to prove ourselves to be loved, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
All of us have these. And my job is to help you get this part back here, right? Back to center, back to source, because right now we're fragmented and we're bringing each part back one by one. And these are the beliefs, okay? So with unconscious mind reprogramming, we're showing your mind that this part, although it was created to protect you, it's actually harming you now, okay? It's
Mhm.
actually harming you, and it's being reflected in your relationships. So once we show that, what we end up doing is we also end up looking at the opposite of this part. So perhaps one of your parts is unworthiness, and the opposite could be unconditional love. So what we're doing is we're bringing awareness to both of these parts, and then We're doing what we need to do to let go and then reclaim both of them and bring them back to center, source, light. And then over time, what ends up happening, this is the unconscious mind reprogramming, right? Over time, what ends up happening is we begin to start operating more from this space, right? More from this space of heart, of love, of center, of truth, of power, right? And I mean, you didn't ask me this, but I do want to say too, when you meet narcissists, those are people that are very, very, very fragmented. That they, like, all of us connect to our center and our heart and our truth and our power and our light, but narcissists really struggle with that because they have all of these parts and they're so fucking fragmented, super fragmented. And you'll never meet a narcissist that didn't endure something very, very, very challenging, right?
Yes.
That
Hmm.
created this fragmentation. That
Yeah.
so all they do is they're operating out here all of the time, and they have no idea how to operate and how to be in this place of heart space.
Yeah. Yep, I absolutely agree. I think that's nice. And I love that you just bring it up because I feel like when it's so natural in the moment, you have to just share it because it's needed. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Someone needs to hear it. And I feel like there's no way for you to say anything wrong on my show. And that's why I said it in the beginning before we started recording, because you don't know who's listening. That's like, you know what? This is exactly what I need to hear. This is the reason why that I'm feeling so all over the place and I feel like a
Mm.
fog, because sometimes people feel this way, but it's like maybe it's because there's a part of you that is drifting that you don't know is really drifting, and you don't
Yeah.
feel as whole as you should because there's something going on within you, and usually people don't put that
Mm.
together, they don't tie those two points together because our society doesn't talk about our spirit. Our society doesn't talk about our mind in that way. All they tell us when you go to school is, we only know about 10% of the brain, and that's as good as it gets. If you really want to know more, go to medical school. You know what I mean? Like that's basically
Yeah.
as much as they tell you. They don't tell you how we are so much more than what school can teach us.
Yeah.
We are so much more than what our families can teach us because sometimes we come from families that are broken and traumatized themselves, and the trauma just continues because it's a pattern and it's a habit and it's acceptable and it is what it is at this point. But once you are finally in that point of that self-healing, and I'm pretty sure that if you're listening, you are in that point, or if you
Mm.
listen to any of my other episodes, you are in that point because let's be honest, if you're not in that self-healing journey, then you're going to feel like you're fighting a battle within yourself. And I think any person who's now in the self-healing journey, you have felt that and you felt this battle between your spirit, between your flesh, between just overall who you are, because you are losing yourself. You know what I mean? We are truly losing who we are. And we are
Yeah.
projecting that on other people, and that's how it's projected on your relationship with money, your
Huge.
relationship with your friends, relationship with your spouse or your significant other, your children, the way you treat computers, the way you treat your phone. I mean, the way you treat anything is like how you said in the beginning is your is already your relationship with that thing, that those objects and those beings and those animals. So it's like you have to really take a second and realize like why are you doing this? And if you feel a pleasure
Yeah.
by hurting something or causing pain, then that's a red flag. I'm just throwing it out there. It has to be a red
Red
flag for it. You know what
flag.
I mean? You
Yeah.
have to realize why is this enjoyable when it shouldn't be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those are the biggest things. And have you came across those type of individuals that they felt more joy over evil doings and just
Yeah. I
really
mean,
crazy things
a
like
month ago,
oh.
I actually went through a smear campaign. So it's so interesting that you brought this up. I went through this smear campaign and I had all of these people that had never met me before calling me racist, calling me white supremacist, calling me a cunt, calling me a piece of shit, disgusting, everything in the book. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And, it was created by, two old friends that I let go of because when you're on this journey, you begin to see that a lot of people are in this victim consciousness.
Yes. Oh my God. Say it again for the people in the back. Because, oh my
Victim
goodness.
consciousness. It's huge.
Yo, it is
And we're ridding
huge.
it right now. We're getting rid of this victim consciousness right now.
Yes, we
Right.
are.
And I want to, since we're on that, like I would love to speak on that. Right. I'm not saying that in the moment when you've endured these things, whether it was, abuse, sexual assaults, the smear campaign, whatever it was, okay, you were a victim in that moment. And also, we are able to have these multiple truths at once, right? So you're a victim in that moment. And also, you're not a victim anymore. You're choosing to be a victim,
Yep.
right? And this victim
Mm-hmm.
archetype, it's so easy to be in. And so many of us are in, right? It's this archetype of, okay, well, I don't have to take responsibility for anything that I do. Okay, like
Yep.
I can just blame everybody else. Okay, I don't have to do the work. Okay, I get to
Mm-hmm.
have all the attention. I get to be a martyr. I get to be seen as somebody, right? So
Mm-hmm.
people love to be there as well as people. We are, we want to belong. We're community oriented. So
Yep.
right now, so many people are like holding on to this victim consciousness for dear fucking life because they're like, but this is where I belong. This is where I belong. This is my community, but this is where I belong. And outside of this, what am I? Outside of my trauma, what am I? There's so much there. There's so much more for you
Co-
there.
I think it also comes down to the unfamiliar is brings a lot of fear. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's the unknown. Like what if? Those what ifs goes into a negative downfall. And it's like it's crazy because you literally have to feed your anger, you have to feed your sadness, you have to feed all of these emotions for that to continue and linger and linger and linger. But people don't realize it until they finally get out of the fog. So I love the fact that you brought up the victim mindset because man, people throw pity parties all the time. Pity party for one. Woo woo. Like, no, shut it down. Shut it all the way down.
Yeah. 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 And it's
Goodness.
okay. It's okay, right? This is part of the human experience. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be
Yes.
angry. These are
Yes.
all like, I think one of the things that makes the human experience so fucking magical is the fact that we have access to this whole spectrum of emotions, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool when you think about
I
it. Oh my
it
gosh,
is.
that's so cool. I get to
It
feel the
is.
deepness of these things, right? So, yes,
Mm-hmm.
honor this when it comes up, honor the grief, honor the sadness, honor the anger, honor the whatever there is. And also know that there's more, right?
Yes, I
And
love it.
also, yeah,
I love this
yeah,
conversation. This was such a great conversation. Yay! So, and I know it's going to start wrapping up the show. So,
yeah,
I got to quick ask you, what is some lasting advice that you can leave us off with? Even though you already been throwing us a bunch of great knowledge, just boop, mic
yes.
drop, because it has been really a great conversation. And I love speaking with individuals like yourself who've already passed that plane of I'm stuck to ugh, anything is endless, you know. But anyways, what can be
Mm.
some lasting advice that you can leave us off with?
Oh, the power is you are the power, right? You are the power. You are a co-creator of your reality. Um, anything that you are not changing, you are choosing.
Ooh. Can you say that again for the people in the back? That's a beautiful statement. Say that again, girl.
anything you are not changing, you are choosing. Okay. This power is all within you, it's in your hands. You get to choose. You get to choose. And I know
Mhm.
it's easier to blame other people, to blame your circumstances, to blame your family, to blame whatever. But at the end of the day, you have the power of choice, and choice is what creates your environment. Choice is what creates the dream life that you desire. And you are the only person that is in your way.
Awesome.
That's my mic
I
drop.
Boom, mic drop. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You guys heard it first from Alexandria. I appreciate your time and coming on my show. I really do. This has been such a great time. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to bring you back for another round, right?
That'd be wonderful. I would love to. We can do Mitzi, yeah, human design.
Right? I know, we'll go deeper into that. Sounds great. Alrighty,
Yes.
y'all. That's it. That's the show. Always, always, always
Mm.
keep thinking, y'all. Be safe. Bye.